All right, so take a look at my notes. You're going to see, first of all, we're in session 3. If you are new, these sessions will rotate and will help you get caught up. Session 3 is this: genius hides in the right question. How to get what you want from your new growth SWAT team. Okay, you want to do that right now? Here we go. Let's begin with the first piece. First, we need to sort of consolidate our learning from last week. And to do that, I'd like to run a quick gut check with you. I'm going to ask you a question. And when I do, if you believe you can do this, I'd like you to raise your hand. Are you ready? If you're not on video, it'd be great if you can. If you can't because of your circumstances, perhaps you can use the digital hand raise inside of Zoom. But I would suggest that by doing this, I can optimize the speed of my presentation and how I move on from concept to concept. This is a gut check. The gut check is here to give you peace of mind. You say, how does a gut check give me peace of mind? Because if you have been in all 3 sessions, if you haven't been, don't worry. But if you've been in all 3 sessions, this is what you should know right now. Are you ready? I know how to use AI Mentor to get started. Do you know that? Raise your hand. Boom. Okay. If you don't know, we're going to learn that. You'll be able to repeat. These sessions repeat. All right, here we go. I know how to save my work. Do you know that? Boom. All right. Here we go. I know how to share my work. Do you know how to do that? I think most of you do because I've seen that. All right. I know how to change my basic settings. Raise your hand if you know that. All right. Now, the final one, I know how to basically navigate through the platform. I may not know every little detail, but I can get around. Okay. Team, if you've done that, then you can take a big sigh of relief and say, the world is overwhelming, but if I can do those things right now, I can build on that. And tomorrow I'll add the next piece, and then I'll add the next piece. And in doing so, I'll build a path. Are you ready? Let's go to the next piece. This week, you submitted in Circle. Circle is the home place for the guild. This is a guild session, and there are many sessions happening in the guild, but this one right now is MEC 50. Get productive with AI. And if you'll look, this is where you should be interacting. And if you don't know how to do that, ask right now. And Cliff, we have people, not Cliff, but Taylor's here and Kaveen is here, and we'll make certain you know how to get into Circle and get to this. It's rich with content, dialogue, and discussion, and all the training and sessions. And you were in there this week, and this is your homework. See all this homework coming in? Let's take a look at it by going back up to our notes. Now, when I get here, this is what you may find. So right on the left is the conversation you shared. And if you're new to Meclabs, one of the coolest things is that you can spool up all this AI work and then share the chat with the AI experts, and they can continue the dialogue, which gives you, and I mean, that's client work, guys. That's all kinds of ways you can use this. I'll tell you what we did. Let's look by first going, let's just pick one. I'll pick number 2, Todd Killing first. So this is Todd's work. And I am able to interact with all of his research with our team. So Todd began to ask a series of questions. Look at all this. And Marketing Professor came alongside and helped him. And then he continued with Marketing Professor, and on this list goes. And you can see over here, this is a fairly long conversation. Now, the cool thing is, after Todd did this work, he sent it over to us, and he posted it in Circle. We went into Circle, and we did this. Watch again. We picked up his conversation here. And now one of my engineers came in and reviewed it. And Todd, we analyzed your conversation, and we took each of your prompts, and we gave you suggested optimized prompts, and we gave you the reasoning behind it. Now, the value here is that each one of you, we've reviewed your assignment, and each one of you, we have assessed the way you interacted with MeclabsAI, and at the bottom, there is an overview of our findings. Now, if you to look further at my notes, you'll see every one of them. See, these are all the updated conversations with coaching from 2 sources. And this is where it really gets interesting. Look. AI Mentor. Let's look at this. Let's go back to one we just pulled up. Okay, here we go. So let me see. Yes, final ICP. This is Keeling. This is his original. This is the new one. Nope, this might be the new one. Let's see. I got so many of these open. There it is. Now take a look. Who did this? Wait. Right now is a moment. The whole analysis was first of all conducted by AI Mentor. Couldn't you do that yourself? AI Mentor analyzed all of these and built the first report. But to give you the most value, I had a human being. I had a prompt engineer go in and read every one of these and edit them, because now it's also cool that you can completely edit your chat in markup and make it even more functional and more usable. So we went in, edited the original from AI Mentor, and tuned it up so that you could get active advice. And what we're going to do next is mail you out all of these chats where you can go in and see the analysis and use it to improve your performance. Now, if you are a student who just submitted your work, on one level, you can say, okay, good, there's someone who actually paid attention and I can get something out of this. But somebody smart on this call tell me what you should also be seeing. There's another layer of learning that just happened if you really thought of it. Say it again. Or maybe that wasn't for us. Somebody else then help me. What do you think just happened with AI Mentor that should make you think twice about your understanding of AI?
That you can ask it to review your work and give you ideas for how to make it better, how to use the tool more effectively.
The best way to use AI is to use AI to use AI. The best way to improve AI is to improve AI with AI. All best AI systems are built around something I wrote in philosophy 20 plus years ago in epistemology called a self-optimizing loop. By the way, that's why we're in trouble. Because when AI starts building AI, really building it, it's going to scale beyond anything we can imagine. When it takes over its own training and development, our world's going to change almost overnight. Folks, this is not sensationalism. Pay attention. Here's the other thing. There's 3 learnings from these assignments. The specific advice, the idea that we are fundamentally having to retrain ourselves to ask AI to help us. And thirdly, the point that most of the questions you ask me, you could ask one of these SWAT team members and they'll give you the same answer I would. And you can get that answer 24 hours a day and fast. Can you all see the value of just walking away with those 3 lessons? Nod at me if you can, because I got to have an interaction and feedback to make this good. All right. I don't mean to patronize you when I say things like that. I've learned if you read teaching and learning theory, it really helps anchor concepts. Now, we're not done. We then analyzed it for top challenges. I didn't use AI. I actually used Nick from my team to oversee all of it, read every single one, make any edits, and find the top 3 challenges. People were not specific enough. People didn't give enough raw material for the genius to do the best answer. And people sometimes didn't make the objective clear. Not clear enough that the genius can go to work. If you think of MeclabsAI right now as sort of an idiot genius, do you know what I mean? He's like an 8-year-old who's really smart, but not a lot of wisdom. Even a smart person needs context to give you a good answer. So how do you turn this vague thing into like a process that you can repeat over and over again? Would you like to learn that? Because the point of today is to get better at interacting in the conversations. We ready for that? Let's go to the second point, and I will show you. We need to discover how to structure a good conversation. So there's a couple of ways to think about this. The first one is every time I sit down to interact with my team, and I don't mean your team at work in the classic sense, I mean this team. Let's go back to Meclabs AI. Let's click on experts. All of these experts are standing by to help. Price strategists, event strategists. This is your SWAT team to grow anything with. all trained. So you need to know how to get the most out of your team. Now, I'm going to pull back. Who's had people working from them before? Who's had employees? Wave at me if you've had a team. So, Grant, let's go to you. When you are communicating with a team, there are some principles you've probably learned in order to get the most impact from them, right? The most value, and just pick any one that you've learned the hard way. Maybe a time in the past when you didn't get the right outcome, so you had to go back and clarify the communication. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I've had a few people who've worked for me in this business, and I've often thought it was my own inadequacy in terms of the communication of the task. But sometimes I think it's a bit of both.
Oh, yeah.
And particularly as I have a couple of employees who are actually, from India, and so therefore there is a sort of, my hearing's going at my age, and basically I'm not always hearing every single word they're saying. So I think it's important that I almost slow down my speech to get across the specifics of the requirement. But I don't know what else I can add to that. But I think
good. I think it's very good, Graham.
Yeah.
I think it's very good. Who else? Who else is? Let me ask somebody new on the call. Roy, I know you've had a big team. Tell me one of the principles you use when managing a team from a communication standpoint.
I think one of the things I've learned over the years, Flint, is that if people don't understand what you're trying to accomplish, it's hard for them to get the result you're looking for. And so I've always said, okay, well, this person knows this bit, this is their area of expertise. If they understand what I'm trying to accomplish, I'm hoping that they can use their expertise to get, to find the right path, right? And so context is obviously very important in this matter. I mean, you could say, write me a paragraph of X, but if you say, well, this paragraph has to, reach this certain type of customer and this certain demographic, and we're trying to get them to do X, that'd be a lot more efficient than. And so that's just what I've always found is that, telling them the why and what we're trying to achieve has always been very critical.
I think it's an excellent answer, Roy. And I'm going to connect it with the last thing I said last week. When we teach together, we work through 3 components. And let's just review that for a moment. Last week, we worked through this outline. And my last point was this: you don't learn MeclabsAI, AI, you get to know it. I'm going to give you another one right now. Ready? This is a mindset. And by the way, when you work through this MEC 50 with me, you're going to see us constantly addressing mindset, then talking about the capabilities you should have, and then applying them together. You're going to see this little yellow code with the plus signs constantly in my notes if you're watching. And what we're doing right now is I want to establish a mindset. If you approach MeclabsAI AI like a vending machine, think you put a quarter in, you get a Coke back. Well, all you're going to get is a Coke. But if you put more in, you could get a car back and a house back and then a small country. Do you understand the difference? It's not a vending machine. It's somebody to work with. So let's see how. Now, also, for those that can hear what I'm about to say, this is a foundational class. We call it basic. But when I teach it, I layer very advanced thinking, underscored philosophical concepts for those that can hear. If it goes over your head or isn't relevant to you, ignore it. You're going to get capabilities, you're going to get the right mindset, you're going to get practical application. But for some of you, there's more going on. Pay attention, you'll hear it. You're about to hear another one right now. The framework I'm about to share with you for getting a good response from MeclabsAI is the same framework that I would deploy if I were tasking my own team out. It works with people too. So let's study it, and let's study how we got to it. I'll close out these notes. I'll tell you what to concentrate on. It's right here. We're going to work on how do you interact in a conversation, and I'm going to click right on that. And what you're going to see as I spool it up is what I always do. In the retraining of habits, I asked MeclabsAI, tell me how to structure a prompt that will give you the best result. Do you see how simple and stupid that question is? Stupid meaning it's not multi-tiered, it's very 0-1. Now, stay with me. AI Mentor answered. I'm going to show you a technique now. Ready? I scroll down. I got it. But Roy, let's suppose you're in a meeting. You get an answer from one of your team members. It could be right. You're not certain. You're parsing it all out, trying to find the very best solution. Would it be normal for you to contrast that answer by asking another team member and getting their thinking and comparing the two? Yeah.
Yeah. And I would encourage it. And a lot of times the collaborate, I mean, the ideation helps build on it and get a better answer, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. So watch what happens next, team. I say, please answer the same question, but look, somebody's changed. Who was the first person I asked? AI Mentor. Now I just asked Marketing Professor. So I asked AI Mentor. Now I just asked Marketing Professor, and I have a very good answer. Now, at this point, I might spool up and get at least one more, and then I might say, now let's fight it out. I want to see all three answers. Last time I appointed Jeff Bezos, I created a simulator to select the winner. I can create a Bezos on here in a blink to think like Bezos because I have enough written content to do so. Here's all you have to do today. We're not going to just use that technique, but we're going to say that we like the Marketing Professor's reply. Let's just kind of review it. Get really clear on your objective. Provide enough context. Roy was saying this. Prioritize the questions or concerns. Ask direct and specific questions. Indicate desired outcomes or examples. That's nice. But I got to use it all day long. So what comes next? Look at my notes. This is kind of fun. I'm again teaching. This next point will hit you on 3 levels. Watch what happens next. We'll get to the fundamental level, and here's the problem I'm trying to solve at the fundamental level. Okay, you showed me a process, and yes, I know that process, but how do I actually remember and use this when I'm trying to prompt? Like, that's too hard. I put it on a card, read it over here. That's an idea. Well, I did something else. I went back to Meclabs AI. Let's see. Let's close out these. I got so many open. I'm going to close out these extra ones. And then I think I'll just go back to my notes and make sure I'm clicked on the right one. Boom. And there it is. All right. This gets really interesting, folks. So watch it now. Here we go. I go a little further. I said, this is excellent advice. Can you organize it into a mnemonic? Look. That was dictation. It's not spelled right. But that's because our version of will use phonetics. And so it phonetically spelled it, and then it translated it into an answer it understood. You'll see in the reply. And here it is. That very short link produced this. Clear quest. Clarify the objective. Lay out the context. Enumerate the priorities. Ask specifically. Results expected. Lay them out. Question directly. Understand the audience. Provide, describing, specify the context, tailor the information. Now, it gives you an exact example of what that looks like right up here. Objective. Here's a sample prompt, end to end. Objective. I'm developing a new marketing strategy aimed at increasing engagement and conversation among millennial customers for our e-commerce platform specializing in sustainable goods. Context. Despite a strong product line and positive customer reviews, our engagement levels on social media are low, and email campaigns have below average open rates. See what's going on here? This is what Roy would say to his team. Isn't it what you'd say to your team? And he goes on, our target audience primarily uses Instagram and Twitter and values authenticity and brand ethics. Questions. Boom. They're prioritized in order. Desired outcome. Follow these guidelines. Now, this is if you're trying to build a really remarkable and robust answer to a problem. We're going to take this. We're going to go back to our notes. And if we think about it, essentially, there is a simple mnemonic tool that we can use. But I would go further than that. You might create your own. Go back over here and look at what we just did. Meclabs AI. I got one. Then I said, this is brilliant. Well done. Can you suggest 2 more models so that I can compare them and select the best? Here's another model. It's called Smart Ask. I won't go into it. Here's another model underneath that. Let's see what this, guidepost. That's the key. Goal identification, understanding the scenario, identify your needs. How long would it take you to build a mnemonic like this if you were a teacher? Leon, help them understand what they should be learning besides the mnemonic. What's going on right now in the way we're using the tool that we can all walk away here and use later?
Sure. Flint.
Hard question, but do your best.
I'm going to revert back to you, I'm afraid.
Okay. All right. So watch, guys, watch. What's really happening are some things we can cull out of this that are useful. First of all, you can take this. I'm going to share this chat with you before it's done full, and you'll be able to go back, look at this, and get the mnemonic tool. Number two, you should be able to think about how you can apply this in so many ways to produce value that you may have not considered before, such as get it to do the extra work of helping you even learn what you need to learn or even remember what you need to remember. Number three, when you really look at this, notice how it's easy to generate an option so fast that I have 3 to compare with. Let me tell you the difference between an experienced manager and a new manager. An experienced manager demands his team produce more options for him to operate against and to assess. You ask a junior person, they ask a question, they bring you back an answer, you decide whether or not you like it. That's not the way to get the best answer. Get more options, look at more answers, compare them and make them better. Are you learning something there? Now, if you are trying to absorb all of this, remember, I'm only teaching at a foundational level, something you can walk away with today and do immediately. We're going to give you this process. We're going to give you an example of this process, and then you can take it and use it in the future. What we're really trying to do, team, today is not simply show you how, but put you on a path to getting confidence. How many of you would like to feel confident when you sit down, you know how to ask, and you know how to determine if it's the right answer? Would you just wave at me if that's the case? Yeah. And so as often when I teach, for those of you that want to achieve more, I'll add a little bonus. For handling complexity, tell it to break it into a logical flow, verify each step, ask for summaries of long responses. That's one of my favorite things. Hey, this is so long. Summarize it, put it on the table. Tell me what matters. Set up premise before concluding the prompt. For iterating, this is you've asked and now you want a better answer. Ask them to rephrase it. Remove ambiguities. Add, remove detail. Adjust the scope. Change the personal scenario. And then for determining if you think the answer is good enough, here's another checklist. I am going to give you this checklist and the mnemonic tool so that you can get ready for your own big test. Did you know there's a big test coming? How many of you are excited about a big test? You live for tests. Paul Gerard's excited. Guess what? Our test does not involve multiple choice or 14,000 questions or a teacher's gigantic ego who brags that most of his students don't pass. Have you ever figured that out? My dad is 90 years old. He lives in a log cabin on this ranch. He killed a bear last year that came through the window, or tried to. He's tough. He's also one of the greatest teachers I've ever encountered. I grew up at his knee learning. Anything you ever heard me do right, the credit goes to my dad. And my dad said to me as I was at Cambridge or Oxford or somewhere, and he said, son, be careful. He said, the test is a test of the teacher, not the student. He said, if a student has gone all in and done their best and they can't pass your course, then there's something wrong with you, not them. And the teacher who brags only 23% are, my pass-fail rate. That guy is not a good teacher. He's exercising his ego in a uniform, so to speak. Beware of that person. So what do we do that's practical here? How do we walk away with something we can use? Well, we're going to apply it. So your test is this. Next week, I'll be introducing a small project that you have to execute through MeclabsAI. You're going to have to take this teaching and use it. We're going to have one practice beforehand. And then by next week, you're in the real deal. And you'll spool it up and we'll use it to help you learn and gain that confidence. I'm going to do something that I didn't have in my notes. Yeah, I definitely am. So I have objectives. And I think if I were to share my private objectives with you right now, my own goals and my own planning, you might be able to partner with me so that I can do a better job. And Leon will add huge value to what I'm saying here. But let me share with you in my planning. So look, you're on our page. These are the growth tracks. If you're new, folks, after 50, we can put you through a process that puts you all the way into each of these are a step. It's postgraduate mastery of building a powerful, growing enterprise. You don't have to do them all, but they work in order, they connect, you get them all in the guild, get them in your scholarship, and you can use Meclabs AI. In my planning for this one, I had this piece that I'd like you to see. Upon completion, this is what I was dreaming about for you. Here's what it is. They have invested at the right level so they can get their value. They have joined the right cohort going forward. That's some of these tracks up here and the right group to continue building on what you've learned here. They've planned their own growth through these learning tracks up here. And they are comfortable working with the basics of Meclabs. They're using Meclabs more and more in their workflow. And I guess I had this too. I figured this would happen naturally if we did the job right. They're sharing the awe with their friends. Now, I never intended for you to see this, but can you see what we're trying to accomplish through you and with you in this session? Will you partner with me to help me do that through you and with you so that when we're all done, you can all say, yeah, this is where I'm at. I've accomplished all that. That's our mutual win. And if you don't win, I don't. There's no way for me to win unless you do. And that's the whole idea here. All right. So let's go back to close that up and keep going. All right. Here we are. Let's review. We've looked at your assignments. And in doing so, we've said there were some common weaknesses. We listed them right down here. But since we don't want to simply tell you that's a lesson, here's the weaknesses, go make it better, we have prepared for you an analysis of your initial prompt work, which you can get when we send the link out. In addition to that, we've developed for you a mnemonic process that you could memorize and or reorganize it in a way that helps you. But essentially, this is the process for getting robust prompts. Now, every time you sit down to Meclabs AI, you do not have to do this. Did I? Did you see my prompts? They were one sentence, right? But when you're trying to tackle a big project, you put in work. Let's go back to Roy. Roy, sometimes you say to your team, hey, can I have X? They deliver it. Sometimes you say, I need a comprehensive plan that will help me do X, Y, and Z. And then we all get together, they debate it, they refine it. That's what this is for. This is for engaging your SWAT team. And earlier, I showed you a hint. I said, I'll show you one of my favorite little techniques. And I watched to see who'd get it. So I'm going to go back to that chat, spool it up, and show you when it happened. Here it is. I am doing something called follow-up. And I'm going to do it right here. Please answer the same question. If I were to tell you those 5 words mean something valuable, it'd be hard for you to be convinced until you see the context. Somebody tell me why that's powerful. Why you're doing that? Let's go. Any idea?
Perspective?
Yeah, because now inside of Meclabs AI, you don't have to start the conversation over anything. You just say, please answer the same question and ask one expert, then ask another expert, then ask a third expert. It's really fast at getting another perspective. And if you look, and we taught this, some of you haven't seen it yet, you will when you're in the first session, behind the hood at the thousands of experiments and the layers of expertise that are driving the answer, each of these guys has a very different perspective and they'll give you different answers. So we're going to see that in just a moment. We're gonna practice in just a moment. But I want to make sure you know the power of simply changing the expert right here, see, and saying, please answer the same question. That's an easy thing for you to do. And it's just like working with your team. Can we all see that and how that might help us? Okay, back to the notes. Mohamedou, he's a teacher, teaches a lot of things. I'm sure he could give me some advice here, but what's the most important thing you're walking away with so far?
Well, the importance of giving context to the AI the same way you would give context to your team. And I was gonna try to intervene and add, like, one of the things I realized with Meclabs AI, and from watching you doing it many times, when you give context to it, is that you use the microphone and you give the context. And I haven't used microphones like to speak with the computer for long, so I'm still accustomed to typing. But I realized that when I use it and use the microphone, I give a lot more context as far as what I want the AI to do, or based on the answer that it gave me, than when I type it. So and this is like, I guess I would say it's mental. It's like I didn't realize, or I didn't perceive it at first, but eventually I came to realize, oh, that makes a big difference as far as just using the audio tool to interact with Meclabs AI, because it allows me to give a lot more context. I'm a lot more faster.
Okay. All right. Let's try together. The next few minutes will be very important. So can you please get your fingers curled up over a keyboard and ready to rock? And if you will, please look at Meclabs AI to see what we just heard. Because Mohamedou, people might miss this. This little microphone turns this into a conversation. And after you've used it, you can click and even have it read back to you. And we're about to release dialogue, which means you can interrupt and talk with each other back and forth without clicking anything. Once we release dialogue, you can sit down with your team and just have a conversation, spool up all the experts, and generate the work. It is shocking how much better it is when you're talking to each other than going to your keyboard, type, wait, reply, type, wait, reply. And so do not underestimate the power of what this man has told us. It's good counsel. And what I'm going to do now is somebody call a category, business category. Every second it takes is a second that I can't show you something. Can you name one category? Okay, give me some more. That would take marketing out. Somebody else, give me something besides marketing. That's good.
Sales enablement.
What's that? Sales enablement. All right, we'll go there. Sales enablement. All right, so let's go to this tab. We're going to type in this. And I'm going to ask you to help me in multiple ways. All right, sales enablement. Boom, I'm there. All right, there's Salesforce, there's info planning. Somebody pick one of these companies. These are all, let's go in like 5. All right, I'm scrolling through. Wow. Software advice. Where do we go, guys? Pick one. HighSpot, blog sales, best practices. Is this a blog? Freshworks, we know who they are.
Freshworks. How about Freshworks?
Okay, we'll go to Freshworks. Now, let's not use their homepage unless, yeah, this is a pretty good one. Okay, we might. So that's the strategy. Let's go Freshworks homepage first. And then let's see, is this the page that, yeah, this is the page. Now, we've done this before, but some people are new, and we're going to use this to sort of learn some of the things we've been talking right now. So some of you have a mnemonic tool. Remember the tool we just talked about? I'm going into my notes. I'm taking that very same tool that I just dropped to you. I'm pasting it in chat as I speak, Control C. I hope I can get away with that in Zoom because they have a limitation on how big the chat can be. All right, here we go. It's open. All right, boom, boom. Now you have the whole mnemonic tool in chat. Grab it right now so that you can use it. Think about which of these principles. Do not think you have to do all of these every time. This is comprehensive. Pick those that matter. Ready? Now back to Meclabs Freshworks Streamline. I'm going to do this. I could take the URL, which I'll do in one way. I'll take it over to Meclabs AI. I'm going to pull up an app. It's called Web Page Analyzer. Web Page Analyzer knows how to extract all the context. Why is that important, somebody? Which letter does that which letter does that connect with in the mnemonic tool? C. All right. Now, while that's happening, I'm going to go back over to that website and I'm going to do another thing. I'm going to do Control All. I'll show you two ways to do this. Control All, Control C. Now I can go back to Meclabs AI and paste it into an expert. Let's just say, let's take copywriter landing page and let's paste this in. Boom. Now I have the entire web page pasted in there. We also have Web Page Analyzer. You'll come back with its return, but we're not waiting on that. Boom. I have pasted this information in and I'm going to say apply the MYA to the site above. Now, do you see what's going on here? I'm going to make this one too. I'm going to make it bad. Site, I'm not going to spell that. Above, let's see what happens. All right, apply this to the site above. Now, while it's doing that, let's go back up to what we see up here. So look, there's that web page we just put in. There's its headline. There's its CT. There's its main bullet points. There's its core pricing. There's its value proposition. There's its main evidentials. This is how Meclabs AI can help improve the page. If you're brand new, put your URL in right now and walk away from this call with help, but keep going. Where do we go from here? So now let's go back. We've already, I'll slow down, guys. I asked copywriter landing pages to analyze it. What's going on right now? Somebody who doesn't know what the 8 micro-yeses are. Most of you know that, right? And every web page is basically consists of this. Now we're analyzing each of them. Here was the original headline. Meet 2024's top-rated customer service software. These are all of the changes recommended to produce higher conversion rates on that page, all mediated through the methodology. No GPT drivel, the real deal. Now, look at all this. Here's the original headline, here's the subheadline, here's how to improve it, all the way through. Let's pause. What do you do now? Let's suppose you just put this in. What do you do now? What's the first thing you do now?
Ask another expert to a conversion pro to give his opinion. That's what I would do.
Let's go to our notes. This is the right kind of idea, but let's start with C. What do we want? Are we really that clear yet? We applied a MYA diagnosis, but I mean, this is not like a exercise in fun. Like there's something in the world that has to change when we're done. What are we trying to change? How about we build a social media campaign for this page? Or would you like to optimize the landing page, create a lead nurturing process? Would you like to identify the ICP for this page? Somebody call an objective. But the first thing, you see, we're already not doing it until we stopped and slowed down. Clarify your objective.
Optimize the landing page.
Optimize the landing page, all right? So here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to that particular reply and watch what happens. I want to send this to you, but I don't want any drivel. And I entered all this stuff in, so I'm going to do this. How's my time? Okay, good. I'm editing in markup. Now I'm going to go back up to this. I see that's a great answer, but I don't need this. This is context, right? It's a whole thing. It's big and long, and it's the whole web page. When you paste a web page in, Meclabs reorganizes it, as you can see, and it doesn't have to be forgetting images, everything. It figures it all out and then does its recommendation. We have a system for that. I'm going to delete that because that was just information. Now I'm getting more practical. Copywriter landing page has already given me some very good advice. There we go. And now I have 2 versions of that. So I'm going to take that one off too, just for clarity's sake. So here's what we have left. We have the URL, an overview of the context. And now we have the landing page first tier analysis. That's all. Now watch what happens next. I share the chat. I create the link. I copy the link. And where's that link going to go right now? In chat. And you've got to pick it up right now because you're going to help me. Here we go. Ready? Get the link, pull it up. For those of you that want to know what's happening technically, when you create the link, it created an entire new version of MecLabs AI, spooled it up and separated it from your conversation so the person you sent this to can continue the chat without interfering with your own chat record. It memorizes both and it sets them up with their own instance. If you're a reseller, they can continue to work, and when they hit the wall, they'll have to activate, and then they'll have some more time, and then they'll have to pay, and you would be credited. But that's not what we're here for. But see how the pieces work? Okay. Do you have chat in front of you? All right. Our objective is what, team? Beth, are you speaking to us or someone else? If you're
Sorry. Yes,
ahead.
optimize the landing page.
Okay, so Beth, how would you structure your query? Any advice in this?
Well, I would want to be more specific about what I want to optimize for. Am I optimizing for leads? Am I optimizing for clicks?
There we go. Now we're starting to think, right? Team, you're not in front of MecLabs AI. Stop for a moment. You're in a room with your team. You have the most talented team you've had in history. They work 24 hours a day, and they all have an IQ that's outrageous. What do you want them to do? Okay, so let's go back now and let's see it in practice. We have an objective. So let's take Freshworks. Let's make this about leads. Start structuring your prompts. Don't listen. Start typing in, ask MecLabs AI to help you generate more leads over 90 days in a spike campaign. Ask it to. Now, let it happen. And then if you've given it a lot of context already with that web page, if you want to provide more, do so. Then what is your priorities? I think that's clear with the lead piece. But if we had metrics from your previous campaigns, we could put them in here. In with direct and specific questions. So what would you say? Let me hear what Roy, is anybody typing in? Let me see your query. What's the words of your query right now? What's the first thing you're saying? Read me your first sentence. Got it? Still thinking? Watch.
Mine says, how can you help me optimize this page so that it generates 30% more leads in the next 90 days?
I like it. Tell me why it's good.
I guess it's specific enough. Since it has all that preamble that you already did, it's got all the context.
What it needs to really make that 30% true would be the metrics for the last 30 days and the collateral. You would give it the metrics, you'd give it the collateral, and you'd ask that question. Do you see how we just hit L, layout, context, right? And then A, ask specifically, this isn't change anything. This isn't a template. This is just a checklist to make sure you've done it right. You follow me? Now, if you go back to MecLabs AI, in the original version that we looked at earlier, right here, I'll show you something. And you're going to get this in chat. I'm going to spool it back up. This is where we were building this model and the mnemonic tool. And guess what we have right here? We have a very good template. All right. So now I'm pasting this in chat for you. And if you think, okay, so how do I structure this? There you go. Boom. Now you start to get the information that you need. And you're going to get this in a chat, so don't worry about it too much. But do you start to see how those pieces connect? Now watch what happens next. Let's close this out. Boom. Let's go here. Boom. Let's go back to the chat we just did. Where do I click to get my chat history? Paul Gerard, what do I do to find my previous chats?
You click on the little hourglass in the bottom right-hand corner.
That's it. And I think there's the Freshworks, that previous chat. I click on it, it's spooled up again, and I can start working with it. All right, watch. Let's do it this way. We'll see if being on the phone messes this up. It might. I'm going to try to use it inside the tool. Help me spool up a 90-day lead generation plan for this website, period. My goal is to improve the website's performance by 30%. I will provide metrics later. Right now, I need you to build the plan without it. Team, did you notice something about that conversation? What did it sound like? Did it sound like I was typing to an MAII or just talking to somebody on my team? I explained things, I told them why. So I hit go and I get this going. Now it's already going to start spooling up the plan. It's going to use the Meclabs methodology to do it. There's the current baseline, audience and market analysis. These are the phases of the plan. There's strategy development, days 11 through 20. I'm going to spool up the next piece. You've seen this before, but I'm trying to help you see how this works. I can go to Project Manager. It will use SMART goals and make this like real. But first, I really want to beat the plan up. So somebody tell me what I can do right now. I taught it to you earlier. Give me 5 words I can type in here.
Answer this question again.
Yes, please answer the same question. And I'm going to switch over to Conversion Pro because I know what's going on with Conversion Pro. When I do this with Conversion Pro, we'll let it go and we'll come over here and we'll pull up MeclabsAI admin in the very back, not your back end, my personal, the belly of the beast. And all of this none of this is us. This is all custom built. Inside of my assistants is somebody that I stood up as an expert called Conversion Pro. Help me find him on this long list. I need to add search because we're doing so many that it's hard to keep up. But I'm looking for, there it is, Conversion Pro. Now, when you call Conversion Pro, you see these gray cards? First of all, it has the universal prompt package. It helps it get smarter than anything in GPT. Then it has training on all of the conversion methodologies by Meclabs AI, summarized and tightly connected to other concepts living in its database. It has overviews of the core testing process. This is one prompt. Let's go back. When I get back to Conversion Pro again, underneath it is the way to get MicroES 1 and 2 that's best. MicroES 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A series of secret commands that can be used. Only with Conversion Pro. Here they are. Let's look at them. You want to see them? Whoa, they're all Python codes. How many of you would like to have that? You type it in, it does it for you. Okay? Ask me about it later. Wait, go to Conversion Pro and type in /guild. Go to Conversion Pro right now. Let's try it. So we are there. Conversion Pro has just critiqued the plan that we had above. See if this works. Boom. Guild. Boom. Oh, my team, here you go. Just type in the / and the letters afterwards, and this series of commands will start driving marketing results for you. Nobody knows about these. They're hidden inside of Meclabs AI for people who attend MEC 50 and invest the time. Okay, so they're all yours right now. You can experiment with them. All right, we're almost out of time. We have 2 minutes left. You now have the secret commands. You have a structure for prompt. You have a checklist in a mnemonic tool. I've said a lot. It's been dense, but if you really think about it, folks, the things you need to walk away with are right here. The clear quest. And along with that, perhaps the template for the prompt and the commands that we just gave you. And let's look at this command list for a second that just came in. Look, historical perspective analysis, Socratic questioning. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's try that. Boom, SOC. Boom. So now we have 2 opinions about what our lead generation plan should be. So we have this genius. I'm here to support you directly with information analysis strategy. There's Conversion Pro. Wait, where's SOC? Let's try that again. /SOC. Uh-oh. It's starting to build a Socratic question right now. All right. Start the Socratic questions. I'm not sure about that. I want to check that out. Questions of the 2 lead generation plans. All errors, keep them in there and go. Now, while that's happening, I'll give it a chance. Plan 1, comprehensive study. Plan 2, it's comparing the plans and beginning Socratic questioning framework, clarifying the goals, examining the assumptions. This is what Socrates does actually in the Republic. investigate potential consequences, reflect on implications, and question the question. Sound familiar? All right, I'm going to pause. How do you land this plane? Tell me, team, how do you take what we just taught? What are you going to do this week to apply it in your daily work and get a real difference? I'm going to start by asking Beth. I know that's putting you on the spot, but you've been super engaging and I'm really glad. What do you think, Beth?
Yeah, a little kind of jumping in the middle of things here.
Yes, yes. Are you all set up inside yet?
I don't think so. No.
All right. So Kaveen and Taylor will reach out to you directly. We have someone
Perfect.
personally hold your hand and make sure you're started right and all goes well.
That would be great.
Is there anybody else new that needs that? If you are, you let us know. We want to make sure you have the basics. But also, Beth, when this class ends, you can pick up the other 2 sessions, the opening session, and then you'll get the whole cycle complete.
Perfect. Thank you.
This is designed to rotate, so you can pick up whatever you missed. It's kind of hard to do for us, but that's what we're doing. Paul Gerard, how are you going to do? What are you going to do tomorrow that's different because you were here today?
I think the self-optimizing loop, absolutely. But I think I'd also enumerate my priorities, try and highlight what my main questions are and rank them in importance.
All right. I'm going to give you something completely outside of the domain of marketing as an assignment for this week. Okay? And I'd like to see how you work with it. Start by suggesting to MeclabsAI what you want to accomplish this week. Consider sharing important meetings, tasks, or schedules. Then ask MeclabsAI to help you tackle the week in a productive way that will produce the maximum amount of impact. Then leverage the tools you've seen me teach today. All of this will be posted in Circle in MEC 50, so you can get them. Leverage the tool to plan your week for maximum productivity. Go deeper. You could say, hey, I have a meeting with such and such at this website. Analyze the website and tell me anything I should be aware of before I walk into the meeting. Say, I have 3 things and I'm not sure which one to do. What's the most important order I should tackle this in? Help me prioritize. Imagine that you have a brilliant expert with deep knowledge, but also the IQ or the intellect to help you structure your week for maximum performance. For some of you who are more advanced on here that already know about this, all I can say is if you do this well, you might want to create an app. On here, you'll learn that you can create your own experts apps and libraries so fast, it's mind-boggling. The experts you see me building, you can build. And what if you created an app every week that helped you? Look, there's no CRM. Folks, MeclabsAI is your whole tech stack. We're talking to you about how to get more value out of the interaction here, but we need to use the interaction here to get more value out of you. Hear me now. I want to challenge you to MeclabsAI, not to learn how to use it better, but to learn how to use it to make you better. MeclabsAI is not a substitute for you. MeclabsAI gives you superpowers. My friend Cliff, our executive producer, calls it a force multiplier. I dare you to multiply your own productivity this week, leveraging this tool and all the myriads of ways you can do so to get to a better plan or a more prioritized, productive approach. Make sense? Now, here's my point for you. If you do something interesting and you share it in the circle, to the extent you can, remember you can edit the chat, so you can take out anything you didn't really see. We'll come along just like we did this week. We'll analyze your approach. This week, we're going to focus on your follow-up questions. Did you hear that? Now, remember, your previous chats from the last session are going to be all sent out to you with our edits and recommendations. You'll get those coming in the mail. Taylor is working with a team to send those individually to you. Go in there and share with us any Here it is, productivity achievements or hacks or shortcuts or surges that you produce. It doesn't have to be in the way I just said. In any way, if you found somehow a way to be more productive, come put that into circles so everybody in this group can learn from each other. And our team will analyze your approach and make recommendations. And then if somebody, because some of you on here could do this, feels really, really interested, build an app that analyzes your week and prepares you and helps you plan it. I know someone who built an app that takes all of an organization's goals and translates it into the entire schedule, does the metrics, and produce the dashboard all here, all at the same time. The dashboard it populates the dashboard. The dashboard's not in here yet. Soon you'll build your dashboard in real time on the fly here. But he populates the dashboard and it literally shows you the entire organization in a snapshot. Why? Because a genius, a whole SWAT team analyzed that and said, oh, here's how to do better. Get more productive, and then you can get more productive with AI. Thank you for putting up with me for another hour and 5 minutes. We're going to end, and I just want to say thanks.